Faculty of Music at Wilfrid Laurier University. We're so happy you're here. Please note that the use of recording devices, including cell phones, is strictly prohibited. Laurier's Kitchener-Waterloo, Brantford, and Milton campuses are close to 18 First Nations communities and 12 Métis councils. Acknowledging them reminds us of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work. We recognize, honor, and respect these nations as the traditional stewards since time immemorial of the lands and water on which Laurier is now present. Now, please take a moment to silence any devices that generate sound and enjoy the show.
Everybody. Are you awake yet? Now you are. Apologies. My name is Amanda Brom. We're the Paper Cranes. We met in first or second year community music here at Laurier. And we got together and we started singing some songs. And now we're here, and it's pretty amazing to get to be in front of all of y'all and play a song for you guys today to start off this wonderful, wonderful airing of the Circle of Music documentary. It's a very full circle moment, kind of pun not really intended, I suppose, for me as well. I went to Cameron Heights and I was a part of the Circle of Music actually in high school, and that is part of what kind of sparked my my passion for music therapy actually. So I'm now finishing up my 4th year in the Bachelor's of Music Therapy program as well. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I'm feeling very, very grateful to be here and to play a song for you guys, and I'm very excited to get to see this documentary and see how it turns out, because I've known Sasha for many years and Sarah for many years, and they are absolutely wonderful people, and they make beautiful music, and they really bring the community together. So thank them as well for all the work that they've done for us. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And thank you, Laurier, so much for hosting this and for having us in this space. It's absolutely beautiful to be in here tonight. And I've got a song for you it's an original song. It's called Pink Paper Hearts. I wrote it, I think, when I was in grade 12 there at Cameron Heights. And I wrote it kind of about the neighborhood that I grew up in and trying to find the beauty in all of the small kind of monotonous things that I don't tend to appreciate. And naturally, coming from the community music program, I have to start us off with a little bit of group singing together. It would actually be, I have to, I don't have a choice. Exactly, I think they'll kick me out if I don't. So basically what we've got is at the end of the song, we've got some O's. And don't worry, I'll sing them for you first, and I'll give you all the signals and all the cues, and I'm hoping that we can do a little bit of singing together before we get to watch this documentary. All right, I'm gonna try to plug the guitar in without breaking anybody's ears a second time. Here we go. Already this sounds so much better. Beautiful. Yeah. There we go. We did it. We did it. Okay. Nothing can go wrong now. All right. This is a song called Pink Paper Hearts. Pink paper hearts taped up in the window of the ground floor bachelorette apartment. I could live like royalty if I moved out east and escaped the weight of this inland feed. These are we get to do the community music making here. So we've got some O's. I'll sing them for you first, and you're gonna sing them back for me. Hopefully. Here we go. Oh, and your turn. Beautiful. Keep that going. Keep that going. And enjoy the documentary. Thank you. All right. Let's steal that.
Everyone, and welcome to Laurier's Faculty of Music to celebrate the Circle of Music program and community music at Laurier. My name is Kimberly Barber, and I am the Associate Dean of External Relations, Partnerships, and Graduate Studies here in the Faculty of Music. And let's hear it again for Amanda Bram and the Paper Cranes. 2026 marks the 50th anniversary of the Faculty of Music at Laurier, and we are so very proud of how far we've come. Community music is an important part of our faculty. We are the only Faculty of Music in the world that has community music programs at the undergraduate, master's, and PhD levels. Yeah. Thank you. And these programs were founded in 2016, 2013, and 2023, respectively. Community music focuses on participatory music making for social and artistic impacts. It centers the group building and cohesion creating aspects of music more than the purely performative or entertainment elements. It embraces the spirit of the Xhosa word Ubuntu, a concept familiar to many African cultures that means I am because we are, but could be interpreted more philosophically to mean the belief in a universal bond of sharing that connects all humanity. In other words, musical experiences that are shared and bring us together. This is the spirit of community music. Tonight's event is hosted by the Laurier Centre for Music in the Community, a research center in our faculty that began in 2009. And now please welcome the current director of Laurier Centre for Music in the Community, Deanna Yarichuk.
Hello, good evening. Oh, so wonderful to see you all. I'm really grateful for you, and thank you so much for spending your time with us. Those of you who are watching from home, we are live streaming on YouTube as well, so I also want to thank you for tuning in wherever you are and joining us tonight. So as Kimberly said, I'm Deanna. I am the current director of the Laurier Centre for Music in the Community, LCMC. And we are, as Kim said, a research center here at the Faculty of Music. So our mission is to foster vibrant and inclusive musical communities through evidence-based participatory music practices. We are constantly doing music as well as researching music. And I have to say that being the director of this research center is maybe the funnest job that I have. We like to make a lot of music. There's a lot of participatory work happening, and we really blur the lines between research and practice. We're really committing to making sure that those are really clearly linked and serving communities. So I'm super thrilled to be hosting this evening and celebrating community music at Laurier. As you likely know, we're here to highlight one special program that LCMC has supported for a decade now called the Circle of Music. That brings together people with dementia, their caregivers, and high school students to sing and to socialize together. That is one of the many projects that we have on the go here. It's a special one. And so it's a special night to celebrate that. It's a special night to celebrate community music as an important part of Laurier Faculty of Music at our 50th anniversary. But it's also a special night because we've got a very wonderful colleague who is about to retire, which is Dr. Lee Willingham. I wish you could have seen his face. He does not look like he's looking forward to what I'm about to say. Some of you know him very well, and some of you might not know him very well. So I just wanted to let you know that Lee is the reason why I'm standing here in front of you today. He's the reason why community music is at Laurier, and actually he's been a huge champion of community music in the local region, nationally and internationally. In fact, he's built this research center. He was the inaugural director and was the director for what, maybe 15 years, I think, kind of give or take a year. And I got to kind of catch the mantle, I guess, or put on the very, very big shoes, or whatever kind of metaphor you'd want to use, when Lee stepped back. Lee, as part of that work, built an international network of research fellows, as well as graduate students and faculty members here in the Faculty of Music and at Laurier. I just wanted to include our international colleagues who couldn't be here, obviously. And so I invited them to send in some videos of a few words for Lee to celebrate him tonight. And so I would like to share this short video with you and share it with you, Lee. It's about 3.5 minutes. Enjoy the greetings of your colleagues, Lee.
Congratulations, Lee, for your retirement. It's been an honour to be with you alongside part of your journey and seeing the growth of community music in Wilfrid Laurier. It's been absolutely brilliant, and of course we made this book together, and that was a fabulous experience, sitting in the classrooms at Wilfrid Laurier on opposite sides, writing it. So it's been a really brilliant contribution you've made to community music internationally, and have a great day and see you soon.
Hi Lee, Phil Mullen here, and saying congratulations and have a great retirement. I'm delighted to give you this message. I just want to say, in terms of your influence on me, first of all, your intellectual depth, your inclusion of voices from all parts of the world, and your whole being as a social justice warrior is why I call you my friend. Yeah. In terms of your achievement in Wilfrid Laurier, I think it's extraordinary. It's the #1 place in the world for community music activity in terms of universities, and you know, I brought community music into the universities in order to professionalize it. But what you've done is you've humanized it and you've ethicized it, if that's a word. You've really made it worthwhile for everyone. Thank you so much for everything, and I look forward to seeing you again during your retirement. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Lee, for your leadership in the field of community music, for your books, your writing, and your good friendship. So I'm wishing you all the best. I hope you're having a wonderful celebration, and I hope I'll continue to get to see you every couple of years at a conference somewhere.
Greetings, Lee. Hiya. Congratulations on your retirement. I just wanted to say really well done on a fantastic achievement of a career. It's been absolutely inspiring, being part of all of the things that you've made, and for being so hospitable with me when I've been over in Canada. I'm absolutely indebted to your contribution. It's been a fantastic career to have witnessed from the sidelines over here in the UK, and I hope you have a fantastic retirement and have lots of fun. See you soon.
calm thinking, deep wisdom, kind eyes, warm smile. A friend to me, a friend to many, a traveler who loves his home. Dearly, keep walking the boundaries. Dearly, keep walking on. Dearly, keep walking the boundaries. Dearly, keep walking on.
Okay, so I'm going to invite Lee up to introduce the Circle of Music documentary, which is queued up next. While he's making his way backstage, I just want to emphasize again the impact that he's made. I think it's clear he's set up or paved the way for 3 programs here at Laurier, the Research Centre. But also he paved the way for me. The Bachelor of Music and Specialization began in 2016, and then I was hired the following year and was dropped into coordinating this program. Without Lee, I don't know where I would be. I don't think I'd be standing here in front of you. He's been an incredible mentor and colleague and a friend. He was on sabbatical this year, actually. He's kind of a nice, gentle move into retirement. So it's great for him, but it sucks for me. Holy smokes. I already feel the huge hole that he's leaving behind, and I am so, so grateful for the chance to work with him for nearly a decade. So I'd like to invite Lee to stage to introduce the film, but please help me thank him for his work and congratulate him.
Well, I'm deeply humbled and grateful for this attention that's being focused on me when it's really supposed to be on a project that we've dedicated much of our time to, but I am honored, and it's always affirming to see alumni and colleagues and people say nice things about you. If you can get that happening for yourself, it feels good. I don't want to say much about my career and all of that. I think there'll be another time for that. But I want to say that in 2008, when we launched the Laurier Centre for Music in the Community, we really didn't know much about community music. I was a music educator. I continue to be that. Spent most of my career helping teachers get ready for a profession in the classroom. But there was always something missing. There was always a boundary or a barrier that we couldn't get through past those educational institutional walls. And I was at a conference in Bologna, Italy, and I met Lee Higgins and Phil Mullen, the guys you've seen on the screen, and became instantly bonded with the work they were doing in their communities. In fact, I was just over in England, and I sat with Pete and played duets on that piano for an hour one afternoon. Pete picked me up from the train, and this is what community music is like. He picked me up from the train, and he went, "Great to see you. We're on our way to a march in Lancaster for an hour. We do that every Wednesday night, and I've got some signs in the back, and I've got a drum for you to play. I've got my trumpet, and we're going to go for." Okay, Pete, that's great. What are we marching about? And it was a good cause. And I really froze my face off. It was really cold. But that's what community music says. We get on the streets and we do some things that matter to the community. Then I was with Lee Higgins for a PhD writing retreat. Lee and I have been in the same room writing a book together. It's interesting. I went over to England, and for a week we sat in the same room. He sat over there, I sat here. Every once in a while, I'd say, "You're doing chapter 3, right?" He goes, "Yeah." "You're doing chapter," "Yep." Then he came over here, we did the same thing. It's very interesting being in the same room but not talking much, and then coming up with something. But one of the first projects we did when the center opened was a research project. We had no money. I had a little bit of early research funding, so I hired a couple of students to go into the streets of Waterloo and Kitchener and ask the question, "Are you a musician?" The second question was, "Does music play a role in your life?" There were many other questions. The first question, 96% of the people said, "No, I'm not a musician." The second question, almost 100% said music plays a big part of my life. What does that mean? Well, I'm in a Dave Matthews cover band. You're not a musician? No, I don't read music. Or, I program my music. I have my playlists. I have my morning and my work day and then my evening. And so I manage my music. Or I go to shows. So we got to thinking that we needed to redefine what a musical community was. A musical community is where people engage in making music. And for these people, it's kind of like music is their sonic oxygen. It's what they hear that feeds their spirit and their souls and their lives. And we've seen that over and over. And so along comes Sasha, an MA student who had a passion for teenagers. She's an early childhood music specialist who's now given over a decade of her life working with seniors. I think there's a lot of similarities between really old people and really young people, but as I get older, people are telling me they see it. So the Circle of Music was founded based somewhat on a model of colleagues in London, Ontario, that were doing an intergenerational choir with teenagers coming in and working with couples. Sasha got really connected with the Waterloo-Wellington Alzheimer's Society, and we started getting referrals from them. We had Cameron Heights High School, and Josh Hill was the music head there, and these students and singers came together and started doing, imagine music making for the purpose of removing social isolation. Or imagine music making for the pure joy of being with a teenager. I'll repeat, the pure joy of being with a teenager. Imagine making music so you can have a cup of tea with some people that you get to see every week. You notice we didn't say imagine music so that you can fix the tuning in the second part of the verse, or that you could enunciate the words better, because all of that kind of happens organically when people are in a joyful and positive environment. So it's a thrill tonight to be able to premiere this movie together. I have not seen it. And the brilliant work of Sara Geidlinger, who is an alum from our program, whose capstone project was an incredible movie called Hip Hop Hope, where she documented the hip hop music scene in our region. You've got to see that if you haven't seen that film. If you hate hip hop, you're going to love the movie anyway. But this movie focuses on pretty much a year-long journey of Sara visiting with her camera and her microphone and documenting what happens in the Circle of Music. Please enjoy.
I created a Circle of Music really with the purpose of creating community. And I wanted it to be a program that had some longevity to it. One of the things that's really different about the Circle of Music is that we don't have a performance orientation, because I wanted to remove as many barriers as I could to people's participation. This is a rethinking of what we mean in terms of excellence. around the circle. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side.
This is a really great example of where a research project actually becomes something practical and applicable to the community. Sasha Judelson was finishing her Master of Arts in Community Music. She saw this as an opportunity, and it was to be a one-year project that would have fulfilled her MA requirements.
Having created a Circle of Music, when I did my MA research, I was measuring the emotional impact, whether that connection with people decreased feelings of loneliness and isolation.
8 years later, we're still going. We've had funding, and this has really made a difference in the lives of people who have been diagnosed with dementia, and I know it's been really important to the teenagers who have, over the years, different group every year, volunteer to sit with these seniors, sing with them, and then socialize with them.
So what's your favorite part of the choir?
Mine?
Yeah.
Singing.
Singing?
Yeah, of course. I love to sing. I think I've been singing all my life. Yeah, music is a good part of life.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It is. If you didn't have music, it would be pretty boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I love listening to music. I do it every day on my walk to school.
Is that right?
I do, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So especially like when the weather's really nice, I've been listening to...
When we see programs like the Circle of Music, really they look at that social support as an underlying success factor, and that is one of the best interventions that you can do to support someone living with dementia, is to encourage them being socially active.
You remember the song, well, do you even know this song, Grandfather's Clock?
I don't know that song.
Sure you
Yeah.
know? My grandfather's clock
Was too large for the shelves, so there's some floor.
It's about a grandfather clock.
Music is known to evoke emotional memory. And what we mean by that is sometimes people living with dementia, it really impacts their shorter term memory. So that's why we find folks may be finding a hard time finding words. They may not remember names. They may be a little disoriented. But if you can tap into that long-term memory, and that's what music does. It has this special, beautiful ability to tap into that emotion that was felt by that person living with dementia while they were in their younger years. So it brings back those good feelings, brings back their youth. And when you combine that with an intergenerational component, having the students, that also brings them back to those younger years.
One of the ways that I hoped we would create that real feeling of connectedness and less isolation is by having the same student connected with the same senior couple each week. I always knew that was really important.
We're building on the science that says participatory music making, and singing primarily, can awaken a mind with Alzheimer's or dementia. It can open up a window of lucidity and clarity for a period of time through the singing of a song. That's the main purpose of the Circle of Music. Give the caregiver a break and then invite a teenager to engage. So that isolation has been removed now with some social energy. And it's very exciting to watch that.
When we first read about this, they said an intergenerational choir, and I wasn't quite sure what that meant. And then we had Evelyn sitting between us, and, who made us feel super welcome, takes care of, making sure Christine's on the right page, and love that aspect of this, sort of having younger people, younger energy, and like a real big open-hearted place. It's comfortable to be here and to sing whether I can sing or not.
You have to be very aware and present when you're trying to connect with someone who's living with dementia. And I knew that caregivers give like 75% more caregiving time if they're caregiving for someone living with dementia. So I wanted to see if providing the same teenager to support that senior couple each week allowed caregivers to relax a bit more and connect with one another a bit more, and to reassure the person who was living with dementia that that person who supported them last week was going to be with them this week and next week. I wanted to see how the teenagers would grow from it. What happens in the Circle of Music, and this is really purposeful, is that the students get to see how these seniors are now, and when they share their stories, the lives that they've lived before, and that really impacts the students.
We have a grade 12 student who has been involved with Circle Music for I think 3 years now. Seeing how she's grown throughout the past 3 years has really been rewarding as well. And sometimes too, we've had students who return from university and they've been in Circle Music in the past, and they come back to visit and sing with us once they return home, which is really nice. So I've seen a lot of connections through the years. Having the additional support system has been super valuable for them. Even when they're just having a bad day, sometimes when they come in, I notice that the seniors pick up on it and they'll connect with them. Having an additional sort of adult in their life showing caring about them helps to build trust in adults, so I think that's really good.
I've been partnered with Mavis, and I feel very connected to her in a sort of fun-loving way I didn't think would be the case. In addition, I do find that Mavis has acted in a way that's very meaningful towards me, especially going through certain things in my life. And this wisdom and caring that she's shown me has been something that is very impactful in a way that I wouldn't have expected. She's capable of being so wise and thoughtful in a way that can really comfort me.
The senior I am paired with, Luann, every time we have rehearsal, she say hi to me, and we talk about how our weeks are. And when we're doing the warm-ups, sometimes because she's left-handed, sometimes we get to the opposite side and we stare at each other, and she wave to me and she say hi, and I feel like that's just really funny. Yeah, I didn't expect it, but I made friends with the choir, and especially Luann, and she's really funny, and she's really wise. She has a lot of wise advice for me, and I feel it's really nice.
I think if one reflects back and thinks about intergenerationality, everybody needs to get something out of it. So I knew that it needed to be fun, that it needed to be relaxed, that people needed to feel that they were growing in some way. So maybe their musical voice is improving. Maybe they feel able to participate in a round. Maybe they're finding out that they fit in more in the community than they thought they did. Maybe as a student they're finding out that there's a different adult who remembers that they had a history test last week and asks them how it was. Maybe a teacher liaison sees a student in a different light because they've shown compassion or needed to share with the teacher that they found something difficult. And I think that's important in terms of creating these kind of occasions. So I wanted it to be something that people, yes, felt committed to because other people are expecting them to be there, but also felt committed to because they're getting something out of it.
It's Monday, yeah. It's Monday until we come here. It's a part of our life or routine.
It is, because he loves to sing, so do I. And music is a good tool, shall I say, to soothe the soul for us as caregivers. And also it's good memory work for those that are participating with us. So it's great all around. And we get to know some more people, and the camaraderie in the group is awesome. Very, very nice.
When I'm choosing the songs each week, when I'm liaising with the pianist, I'm always thinking, what's someone getting out of it? And one of the great joys that I wasn't really expecting to happen has been to see how much pianists grow from being part of it.
Arden, the accompanist, he was actually in my class 2 years ago. I knew he was really interested in people and behavior and sort of observing, so I thought that this would be a great opportunity for him because I also knew he was like a very talented pianist.
I would say being an accompanist is a lot of listening, a lot of leading as well as following. It definitely requires a lot of just connection with the conductor and yourself, like outside of the music, to kind of get that nice connection going. Yeah, it's fun to hear. We do a lot of like questions. We go around in a circle and we just ask everyone a question, and it's interesting to hear all the answers, and especially like the difference in perspectives between the high schoolers and our more senior members. It's just really interesting to me. Like a lot of them would like have all these like experiences. They would recollect like their high school lives, the seniors specifically.
Okay, show of hands. Do you mind getting soaking wet in the rain? Yes, if you do mind.
And I think that's interesting to kind of see how the high schoolers kind of like absorb that those like information or those lessons that they're getting, and I think that's really nice how they're just able to take those like that wisdom from them that way.
Do you mind getting soaking wet in the rain? Yes. Put your hand up. No. Okay, and now switch if you don't mind. Oh my. It's about half and half, isn't it?
Guys, okay, so let's see.
We're going to sing They Can't Take That Away From Me. It's on page 37.
I think community music can mean different things to different people, and I think it should. For me, community music is about connecting people within the community who wouldn't otherwise necessarily get to know each other. I'm really interested in the non-performance aspect. We might be doing something wonderful, but we're not performing. What I lean on is pedagogically knowing that people are able to sing in tune if we support them. We're born with a natural musical aptitude. We're not all born with a performance gene. We're not all born wanting to be on the stage, but we're all born able to sing in tune and move with rhythm, as long as we support that development.
Sasha will ask a question that contextualizes the music. So if we're singing Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, did anybody bring an umbrella today? Did we need an umbrella today? When was the last time you saw that rain? So that kind of thing gets them in conversational mode, because we know the singing's using another part of the brain, but then when they're asked a question and they have to verbalize an answer, that builds on that. And so there's a real sort of scientific rationale behind how this works in that hour.
And here are your toes. It's green grass grows really greener, gaining giant. Green grass grows green.
All of that together really, it leads to better health outcomes for people living with dementia. They're happier, they have a better quality of life, and I can't think of a better program to support people living with dementia.
Sasha is highly structured, well planned, everything's thought out. She's just right at home in that area.
Lee, as my supervisor as a master's student, was a real dream. And he's allowed that relationship to really grow and continue to let me run when I know what I'm doing and reach out when I need some guidance or support. He's always been there. I think one needs a mentor when you're doing things like this, so that you're not always relying on your own compass, that you have somebody else's input too. It's definitely been invaluable for me and a real joy to work with him.
I really hope that it continues. I feel like it's very important and such a beautiful space. Perhaps this can inspire other communities to try it out and see what they can get out of it as well.
Seeing how people connect with one another and feel dedicated to the program is really inspiring.
I really love coming here. Being around elderly people, it warms my heart because they're very wise and very helpful and very kind. When I look around the circle, they have a lot of smiles. This is something that they enjoy, and I like to be a part of things that make other people happy.
Well, we're getting to know each other. It's becoming like friends and family. That's the whole part, I find. We know each other, friends and family.
letting that sit with us for a few minutes is maybe an okay thing. We would like to spend our last 15 minutes or so here to have a chance for you to hear from the filmmaker and the creator of the project themselves. And so I'm going to invite them on stage. So first I'd like to introduce Sasha Judelson. You saw her in the movie, but she's a, we've got some fans in the audience. So Sasha is a community musician and a graduate of our MA program, and yeah, we created this beautiful program. Welcome, Sasha. Okay, go for it. Then I'd like to introduce the wonderful filmmaker Sara Geidlinger, who's behind this beautiful documentary, and she's a multimedia storyteller, and she highlights these local stories in Waterloo through podcasts and documentaries. So Sara, welcome. And last, you already met him, so I'm not going to introduce him any more other than his name, Lee Willingham, join us. Okay, well, so I've got a couple questions for you. I'll ask a few questions, but then we have someone, the lovely Tressa, who's going to roam with the microphone. So if you do have questions that you want to answer, we'll open up to the floor as well in a few minutes. But I'm just curious, Sasha, like, I know you've seen this documentary a few times, but as you watch it again, what kind of sits with you most? You've been doing this work for 10 years now, so what sits with you as you watch it here this time?
It's a great question, Deanna. I think every time I see it, I can't quite believe that it's existed for 10 years. And I'm really moved by how much people have enjoyed being part of it and how much it's connected people within the community. That was so important to me right from the start, that people felt connected and at ease and able to participate. And I think one of the things that's been a real revelation is how I've had to examine my own practice and continue to evolve ways to help people to connect and not just sit back and think, right, well that worked, we'll just carry on doing it that way. So every time I watch it, I see something different. I see somebody else's little reaction to something and think, oh, that worked, or oh, they looked a bit uncomfortable there. I should make a note of that.
Constantly evaluating the reflective practitioner. That's right. And I think I saw some Circle of Music participants that are here tonight, so welcome. It's really wonderful to have you here. And I know that you screened this documentary to the participants a couple of weeks ago. I got the privilege of sitting in on that. How did the Circle of Music community respond to the documentary? And for Sasha, but maybe Sarah as well, because you made it. Yeah.
Well, I'll go first, and you can. I chose to stand right at the back, particularly because I didn't, I'm always, as you can see, I'm always in the middle of the circle. And so once the session is over, I very consciously take a step back because I want people to feel able to connect with one another without me, the leader, being there and imposing anything on them. So when we screened the documentary, I wanted to do the same sort of thing. And what I noticed more than anything else is that nobody said anything during the screening, and at the end of the screening there was a really long silence. And what came across to me is it's such an informal and unpressurized environment when we're in the session, and I think people don't realize how much has gone on behind the scenes, how much I've thought about which songs to sing and how to ask questions that are connected with the lyrics that help people find out about each other. And I think that purposefulness, I think Sarah's brought it out really beautifully.
Thanks, Sasha. Oh, is this thing on? Oh, now it is. Thank you so much. I just like saying that. I thought the screening went really well. Colin over here and we hauled this giant TV into the space and, made sure we tested the sound to make sure that everyone could see it. And watching, it's always, Deanna, you taught me the term art baby. That was you, right? Right?
I was
So
going
like,
to just use that phrase.
you
Last
make
night.
this thing, you make this beautiful thing, and you pour your heart and soul into it, and then you give it to your community, and you're like, oh, we hope you love our art, baby. Here it is, you know. And they really responded well, right? And even tonight, like, I want to thank all of you. It's hard to get people away from Netflix and away from home where it's comfy, and their evening wine or tea or whatever that looks like. So thank you all for coming and supporting community music and the arts tonight. So give yourself a round.
Sarah, actually, let's stay with you. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the process of making the film.
Yeah, for sure. This is really different than making Hip Hop Hope or the Refton Theater or some of the other films. Like, this is very different because, like, when you are a documentarian, you go into a space and you hope to just observe, right? You turn on the cameras and you hide your little mics around and you really hope to just observe and pick up these beautiful moments. But Circle of Music will not allow that to happen with me, right? I have my own Sarah name tag, and when I come in, I'm part of the Hello Sarah, peace be with thee, right? I'm part of the welcome song. Kathy's laughing because she knows the song so well. And I love it. It's wonderful. I love to sing. So being even behind the camera, there's some scenes where I wanted to use the audio, and I'm like, oh shoot, I can't use that because I'm singing off key terribly in the background of this shot, you know. But I think I had a couple clips, so we can't play those, right? We decided to pick it. Okay, that's fine. But we have there's this wonderful moment where I have the camera on the middle on Sasha, and I guess I kind of just forgot that it was my turn for the hello song. And the entire circle is facing me, including Sasha in the middle, and they're all singing the hello song to me. And it's such a beautiful example of what happens when you come into that space. It's impossible to just observe. You're going to be part of this beautiful group of people who are doing something joyful together every week, and looking forward to it. It's not a chore for the students, and it's not. No one's being dragged there. Everyone wants to be there. Everybody wants to sing "Let's Go Fly a Kite" so much, right? I love it. So that's my take on it. I wasn't able to just observe. I was a part of it the second I got in there.
How is this funded? Like, how have you sustained it over 10 years? I'm not sure who to direct that to first. Lee, maybe. All right. Everybody get out your wallets.
There's a QR code on the back. You can donate. So it doesn't cost much. Sasha works for very little. And we have a partnership with the church, the two churches that we work with. And but the answer, we do have funding. And so let's start now and work backwards. This film was a big production, and there's always cost with that. And this happened because of a generous grant from what was then known as the Retired Teachers Educational Ontario Foundation, or something like that. And it's now called Entente. And how do we know about that? Well, I'm a retired teacher, but I didn't know about that. I retired at an early age to become a professor. I was a teacher in Toronto area. But a colleague at my church, who's here tonight, Rick Chambers, sent me an email and said, you should look into this, and there's a link. And Rick, thank you very much. That film is a result of you being generous with sharing that to us. So Rick is sitting somewhere over there. In addition to the Entente Foundation, there's a government arm called the Employment and Social Development Canada, something. And they have a program called the New Horizons Seniors Program. And part of the initiative around that program is there's a checklist of things they need you to say you're doing. One of them is social isolation. One is, help me, Sasha. There's a whole list of things that we felt the Circle of Music was spot on, was addressing.
Yeah, we do. We fill a lot of that criteria. It's about decreasing social isolation, volunteerism, giving seniors a leadership role, and helping them to come out of their usual living situations.
And skills development, like enhancing life through challenges, new things.
Yeah.
So that group has helped sponsor us several times. During the COVID years, Sasha moved the whole operation online. Can you imagine? And put song sheets and singing tracks, and they had a social time online. And that was funded through a special COVID grant from the same department. We were part of a large partnership development grant that came out of McGill University called Senior Populations Working in Technology. So that was a SHRC, Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council grant. And so there's been a number of various ways to fund this project. Next year, we're meeting in a couple weeks to apply for another grant, aren't we?
Yes.
I'm retiring, but I'm still going to help.
I'm going to get him to sign on the dotted line.
Yeah, but so we're looking for funding, but generally, this kind of program is fundable because it's so valuable.
I wonder, so I think I'm going to ask more question, and maybe I'll open up to the audience. So maybe Trust, if you want to stand up, and if somebody has a question, kind of flag her over. And while we're waiting, I'm going to ask this question, which is actually queuing up about research. We're all research fellows at LCMC, and I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about how the research that you've done is informing the development of the Circle of Music. Yeah, and kind of where you see it going from here.
She's the one who's researched the actual experience more than I've been watching her work.
Yeah, helping, advising, mentoring. It's the research taken various iterations. The piece which I started with, which I mentioned in when I was being interviewed for the documentary, that emotional impact. Because for me, if we're not having an emotional impact at the time, then I'm not facilitating or leading in a way that I intended to. So that was the initial research, and then some research into how long that good feeling lasts. Like, are people still singing that evening? Are they singing the next morning? How does that impact of being with a community affect them as they go about their other tasks? Do they feel able to make music without being in a session? And that's quite a firm no, which is interesting because we tried with the technology piece to say, here's the recordings, here's the lyrics, are you using them? No. And so what that tells me really is that people are coming because they like to sing, but they're coming because they want to be with people that they can connect with, which is very informative because I wanted people to feel able to participate without feeling like they had to perform. And that performance piece is the bit that I'm very interested in. Like, how do we encourage people to feel able to make music with other people and not feel that they have to be a performer?
I recall we were doing one of those, we were talking to some of the caregivers early on, in maybe year 2 or 3, and I recall one conversation. I think we were meeting on Thursdays then, right? And so the person with dementia that we were talking about would ask every day, is it Thursday? Which made us wonder, that day and that event and that moment stuck, you know, and was something to anticipate. And we just don't know what's going on sometimes, you know, with inner workings, where sometimes there's a lot of clarity and lucidity, and other times it just seems closed. But I love that. Is it Thursday?
Do we have a question? Please. It'll turn on.
How do you encourage the participants? Where do you find them? How do they find out about you? How do you find out about them? It's a fairly, well, it's a pretty white group. Have you tried recruiting from our Muslim community, for example, our Korean community, our Chinese community? Can you tell me a little bit about the recruiting and where they come from, how you get them involved in this in the beginning?
It is, right now, it is people, word of mouth, and people that have been referred from the Alzheimer's Society. But we have, in a recent project proposal, we are developing a model to somehow recruit people that come from other cultural traditions. It is difficult because I think at the senior level, when people are elderly, there is that isolation piece, and they don't have these networks to connect. So it is definitely, we've observed exactly what you said, and we've reached out. Another population we'd like to connect with is the Indigenous community, because they're here too and they love to sing. So it's an aspiration, and what we've started is a database with lists of organizations that service various cultures, newcomers, and how do we identify people that have dementia or Alzheimer's? How do we connect with them? And because we're just who you see, there's no more. This is it. We probably need to engage maybe some help in that area. That would be some funding that would support that.
And to Lee and Sasha's credit, there's a large portion of Lee's interview from the documentary making process where he addresses a lot of this and where there were gaps and where there have been gaps. I do think the big piece in the record actually brought up a bunch more participants in. But just as a filmmaker, and while I'm building that narrative of how, like the task was, how do we build this choir and how does somebody replicate, start to finish? How does somebody make this happen in their community? Within 20 minutes, right? So I didn't include that portion because it was incredibly well thought out, and it would have taken a larger chunk of this time. And when I'm creating films, I think that we should document what is currently happening, and if you want to revisit that in 5 years when they've done this work, or when more people have reached out and sort of do an update on that, then that's what's currently happening then as well. But rest assured, or in their defense, there's 15, 20 minutes of footage about talking about how to do better in this area. Yep. Go ahead.
Thank you. The Schlegel Institute this year put out a film called The Green Bench, and it's about older adults living in homes and connecting with their past. This film tonight is much more visceral and much more believable, I think, than The Green Bench, because it's not as artificial. This is real people doing real things. The question I have is, how will we access this film? How can we show this to other people in the community?
That's a great question. Tonight's live stream is being recorded, and it will be available on Laurier's YouTube channel, where you can access the entire event from tonight. And there will be a link to the direct YouTube with just the film as well, and a link directly on the Circle of Music website, where there are also resources for people to download the sheet music and instructions on how to get started. Is that right, Sasha?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
It'll be on the LCMC website too?
It could be. I didn't think about that till just now.
And there are, if you're wondering what is the Circle of Music website, you could say it out loud, but also we have takeaway sheets out in the lobby. So you can grab one of those sheets that has the Circle of Music website on it.
It's tricky.
If you wanted to donate, if you got a really heavy wallet and you'd like to lighten it up a bit, we would be very, very grateful for any donations that you might have as well. So there's donations out there.
There's a QR code as well, and it's thecircleofmusic.com. So, is it there? Try it out. Get your phones out and see if the QR code to donate works. Just give it a try.
We're coming close to the end, I think. We've got some food waiting for us now. I think we have one more question here, and maybe I will wrap up after that. Go for it.
Hi there.
Hi, JP.
Hello. So this question is actually directed for Sarah. And I just want to congratulate you. I've seen all of your art babies, and I know how very special each project is to you. I will say this is an incredible one to add to the list. As a filmmaker, with each project that you do, I understand there is something that will sit with you that you'll take away from each of those projects. What would you say is your takeaway from working on this project?
Oh, JP, that's such a good question. And you do take you take something away from each documentary, but you also leave something behind. The hip hop hope community is often saying, like, when are we next doing something with this film, or when are you coming to the next show? Or the wrestling community is like, where's Sarah? Like, why isn't she coming? I can't continue to document the one forever, right? It has to sort of be this artifact of what was happening at that time. This film is incredibly special to me, and this group is incredibly special to me because my own mom had dementia, and it's the Bruce Willis kind, if that clears it up. And she was misdiagnosed for years and mismedicated for years, and it was a long haul. I know I have a cousin in this room who will nod for me and give me a big hug later for saying it out loud, and it was a hard time. But if we could sing together, you know, she wouldn't know my name. She called me Richard for a long time, and you know, but if we could sing together, it was just there, right at the front, and we could have a moment of clarity together. And she would kind of look at me and she'd say, "Oh, I know you. You know, we could have that little tiny moment." And I'm working on another film right now, the Lullaby Project, and I've really been thinking a lot about the songs that my mother sang to me when I was a baby, and they were "You Are My Special Angel" and "Mockingbird Hill." You know, these two songs. And I think those will stay with me when I'm a senior, right? Those songs will be locked in, and I'll be able to like hear her voice close to my face, and that's what I'm taking away. Yeah.
Beautiful, great question. Thank you. Any other closing thoughts, or like what will you take away from working in the documentary? Can I pose that question to you?
Yes.
Two more. Yeah.
What will I take away? I think it really made me analyze my own process and how I work, and how important it is for me to make sure that I have planned and I'm present in the session, not just, there's no wing in it. And going back to your question about what did I take away from the screening, is I thought, I think quite a lot of people think I'm just winging it here.
Can I just add one thing? So, Circle of Music people, make sure you're there on Monday, because I'm playing the piano. And I'm practicing. I also, before Deanna gets the last word, I really want to thank Deanna and her leadership for this whole enterprise. She's thank you. Deanna and her team, and there's some people in here that I know have worked with her, has invigorated the whole center and brought it much more forward. And I'm also personally grateful for the recognition tonight. So thank you very much, and now you can have the last word.
All right, there's a lot of thanks going on right now. I want to thank Lee and Sarah and Sasha for this beautiful evening and a beautiful documentary, so thank you very much. And I want to thank Amanda Bram and the Paper Cranes, so please give them a round of applause. I am so delighted to tell you the formal part's done, but the party begins. So we are going outside, out in the lobby, there's punch and a little bit of food. And Amanda Brown and the Paper Cranes will play another short set outside in the lobby. So we invite you to join us there. And also, again, if you do have a few dollars or many dollars and you would like to donate to the Circle of Music to help keep it going, we invite you to do so. There are QR codes or links to websites outside. So we hope that you might be able to support us. All online donations will get a tax receipt from Laurier, so you can get a little benefit bag for yourself. And I just want to thank you again for coming out. As I said, it's not always easy to come out, and it's really beautiful to actually be in a room with actual humans next to us. There's no AI, there's one screen, but we're all watching it together. It's really beautiful. So thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you in the lobby. Okay, I'm sorry, folks. I think we have a thank you, and I feel like it's an important one for us all to listen to.
My thought was, listening to you, you cared about those who were not as fortunate as you are. And to be alone, to be unable to have dementia is not an easy thing to do. but we do what we can. And meeting together on Mondays with Sasha and doing the singing, and it was a tremendous thing. I'm also taking singing lessons, learning how to play the piano so I can sing gooder and also grow, because I'm trying to train my brain. As you know, meeting the people from like John, we just embraced one another. We were family. Thank you very much, Sasha, for your patience. You put up with me. Thank you very much.